Welcome to part 2 of another edition of Odyssey House Journals. I'm Randall Carlisle, your host. Our co-host is Nicole Slack, and our guest is Jared Jensen. And I would urge you, if you didn't watch last week's podcast, please do, because just a quick summary, Jared's 21-year-old daughter, Maddie, goes into a jail ostensibly to deal with some drug issues. She goes through what appears to be drug withdrawal. She doesn't get any treatment. She has violent vomiting and diarrhea. And 4 days after going into the jail, she's found dead in her cell. And Jared talks about this in last week's edition. So I would urge you to watch this. And the reason I wanted to do two podcasts on this is what Jared did after his daughter's death is going to influence how jails handle prisoners who come in or people who voluntarily come in and are going through any kind of withdrawal. So that's why we have Jared again back here. Thanks for sharing. It was painful to talk about in our last episode, but okay, she died. You're trying to get answers, and then you find out you're going to have to take a legal route to do something. What did you do?
Once we found out she died, I called my attorney. He's been my corporate attorney for a long time. I said, I can't deal with this. Just see what's happened.
This is 9 years ago. I shouldn't have said that in the beginning.
Yep. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has.
So he called the county trying to get information. I mean, tight-lipped, wouldn't say nothing. We just tried to figure out what was going on. Finally, when the medical examiner called me, that's when I knew something was wrong. The medical examiner, who should never call a parent, not only called me once, but called me twice. He said, "There's something horrible wrong with your daughter. Your daughter at 21 years of age, this should have never happened. She should be alive today." And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "She is tenting so bad. She's so dehydrated. There's a major problem with whatever happened to her where she was at." And so I called my attorney and talked to him. So he started on his digging trip with the county. And all we got was brick wall, brick wall, brick wall. We just wanted, as a family, I just lost my 21-year-old daughter. Can I just have an answer? If she hung herself, did she fall off a bed and die? What's going on? And now we got a medical examiner calling me not once but twice telling me something horrible happened to your daughter. And so that's when the attorneys got involved. And when we was stonewalled, we had no choice but to file a suit to try and figure out what happened to my daughter. Maybe that's how the county needs to work, but we had no idea what happened to her. I thought I had that right, but apparently 9 years later, we figure out where my rights come all the way through all the appellate courts and federal court.
So you can find out what happened.
Absolutely nothing.
What did you find out about the videos?
So the long story short, the videos, we didn't get them, I think, for probably 3 or 4 years later.
Did you even know they had videos?
I did. I'll put a little tidbit out there. One of the officers come to my house and told me, "Jared, everything is on compression. There's DVD storage. It's all audio and videoed, and it's stored all in this room in this closet. Get it before it disappears."
Whoa.
Yeah, and he told me, he says, "Never speak of my name again." He says, "What happened to your daughter? We've already had our meetings and we know what happened. You need to get these tapes because it is horrific." So I called my attorney, talked to him about what's going on. He had to do a request of some form to get that. And the funniest thing is in court, whenever there's an issue with a state inmate, Sheriff Bourne says, "Yeah, I can just pull up on the computer log in the time and log in the room, whatever, and I can pull it up and see why he says he's being abused or whatever." Well, okay, we've had 8 years of discovery. We got a total of 86 minutes of 4.5 days. We never once seen her throw up or go to the bathroom, not once. All we seen is her walk or move or lay down. Everything was cut. And that was our big thing. She's there 4.5 days. Your own sheriff just says, "We record everything." Why is it not there? So you'll see my daughter laying down, toilet's clean. Next thing you know, the toilet's full. Where's that video of her going to the bathroom? There is none. Where's her throwing up? There is none. How'd the puke run down the wall? There is none. You can see the puke by the side of her head running down the wall and on the floor. You never seen her throw up. The room she was in, all you have to do is move your finger and it videotapes you immediately. It's that accurate. All you got to do is move your finger. That's what come out in court. Well, where is it? I mean, if I was on the jury, I'd say, hey, this sheriff just says there should be 4.5 days of video here. Why we only got 86 minutes? We never got to see the horrific stuff. We just got to see the small stuff. But they forgot to take out her passing out, falling down, the wheelchair issues and all that come out. The jury's like, you got to be kidding me. Their own sheriff's department saying the wheelchair, falling down, crawling on her knees. And two of those are on video.
So obviously they doctored the video.
I can't say that for being accusatory, but this is me as a taxpayer. If a sheriff says they have it all recorded, where's it at? Because this family needs to see it. The whole case could have been summed up a lot easier with 4.5 days. Just play the video. You don't need to have any discovery for 8.5 years. Here's coming in. She come in, even the intake lady, Liz, said Maddie was just fine, communicating perfectly fine. And then they go into jail, and they took away her Wellbutrin and Tramadol. Now let's go into that for a minute. They took away 2 of her meds she's been on for 6 months for endometriosis and some depression, okay? And then the Wellbutrin I didn't know until it come out. When she wasn't doing drugs, she started smoking a little bit.
Okay.
She wanted to quit it. Well, 12 months after starting the marijuana in the college in Colorado, she went to her own doctor and says, I need to quit smoking and I'm agitated, so they put her on Wellbutrin. I didn't know that's how they treat you to quit smoking. Well, that come out in court. I didn't know that discovery. So basically my daughter's getting clean from a year of abuse and going down the line and had 2 relapses is what we found out.
Wow. So, okay, so this is the beginning of your court battles, which
Yes.
lasted for 8.5
8.5 years.
So you start at a lower level and you end up in federal court.
Yes.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that happened in court, in lower court battles.
Let me start with the criminal court because that's the part that needs to be done. So first, the state of Utah AG's office charged Jana Clyde with a misdemeanor for taking my daughter's life, basically.
And Jana Clyde was,
The LPN that worked at the jail.
okay.
She was their medical / provider when the PA wasn't there.
Right.
She was the go-to, basically. So we sat through this court for 5 years probably, and she was found not guilty, and that was tough to swallow. But in the judge's 30-page opinion and what he stated in court was he found so many problems within the jail. When he made his ruling, he says, if Jana Clyde is not 100% guilty, I cannot find her guilty. You know what? Me as an American, I can agree with that. Because if she's not all the way guilty, she shouldn't be charged with it. At that point, I was really upset, still going through everything. But I would want to be treated the same way she was. Was she culpable? Yes. Was she at fault for some of it? Yes, the entire jail was. And I've never seen a misdemeanor wrongful death have an opinion 30 pages long and take 9 months to get. But what happened was that judge wrote his opinion so clean that got us to where my attorneys could go into the federal court system, because our biggest thing is to fight that qualified immunity. That's why all our jailers walk free. Once you're inside that jail, if you do something wrong, all the county employees get qualified immunity. And that was our biggest goal in this fight is, we've been through all the battles. We've lost our daughter. It's horrible. But, I talked with my wife and our kids, and we're like, this is going to cost millions of dollars to fight this. And my kids did not care. I got with my attorney. He worked stuff out with me. He carried so much. I had to pay all these fees. It was great what he done for me. But my attorney knew my daughter since she was little. And it became a personal thing for him. So as we fought this and made every sacrifice to fight it, I knew as a father that I did not want one single parent, mother, daughter, granddaughter, to ever have to hear and see what happened to my daughter, just from the lack of training, policies, and the good old boy system. And so I do know that they've drugged this on for so long because that's how it works. When these people run out of money, they can't fight you no more. Okay? My attorney even told me, he says, Jared, we don't even have like a 10% chance on winning this. It's going to take a lot of effort. We ended up having 8 attorneys that we've had hired on this case. We've had, I think, 2 or 3 paralegals, and I don't know how many secretaries have worked on this for 8.5 years to go through every single legal book, every scholar you can go through to get us to find this path to get to federal court and thread the needle like Ryan did.
And qualified immunity was when that was thrown out then? It was.
That's why all the jailers walked. Because once you're in the jail, you have qualified immunity through the county.
You can do anything?
Basically, not be held liable for it. I mean, you have to actually go out and shoot somebody to probably be held accountable.
So what happened with qualified immunity because of your battle?
So our battle right now, from what we understand, is forever now, it'll say Madison Jody Jensen v. Duchesne County. It'll show the win and why it was the win. But now people can say, you harmed my child or my father or mother in this jail by violating their constitutional rights. Now we can come after you. And we have a case through all the appellate courts and the federal court that says this can be done. So we paved the way for every single American that ever's mistreated. Madison's death is going to save that many more people.
So not just Utah, but
nationwide.
Wow.
This is federal. It's not state, it's federal.
Wow. And so when you watch court TV shows and they say, Your Honor, let me refer back to this case,
yes,
they'll be referring back to your daughter's death case.
Yep. And even in our claim, I bet you there's over 20 cases stated that were strong but not strong enough. And it took a lot. I mean, my attorneys, you met Ryan. Even talk with Ryan, he says, if you lose the money and I lose the money, what we're into this, I don't care and I know you don't care. We got to win this fight because this is wrong what happened to your daughter. And it seems like nobody cares. It's a jail, you're all worthless, whatever. And that's how it come across to us. So
does the jail not have a responsibility for the wellness of the people that they incarcerate there?
That was part of the court case. As soon as they put the bracelets on, that life is 100% in their control. And that becomes their problem. Both qualified immunity, that's where they gray the waters.
But there's no, I mean, we have clients. We have to take care of them when they're not well. We have to make sure there's no authority watching over them.
Well, you're trained. Duchesne County wasn't trained. One of their policies says everybody be trained as a EMT and medical. Well, we knew 2 of them were out of the whole jail, and only one, I don't know if I can say his name, but anyways, only one jailer who seen Maddie before she passed went home and told his wife, that girl's gonna die. He showed up to work the next day, guess what? She's dead. Even on the same, says it startled me to death, it freaked me out. He has no medical training whatsoever, and he's the one that called it. The ones with that are EMTs didn't even catch it.
Okay, so you go through 8.5 years of court battles, and recently you got into a federal jury trial in Salt Lake City, Utah. And that lasted, 2 weeks?
It was, we had 3 days of jury prep, whatever, and then we had 5 days, then they had 5 days, so it was 10 full days.
And the end result, I guess we can reveal it, was what?
The jury walked in, I looked at them, I got a really odd, good feeling, and then they sat down and the judge went through the papers not once, about twice, but 3 times. And I'm like, boy, this is, judge, I've never seen that before. And so he asked the jury, is this your verdict? And they all answered yes. And so he read the verdict, and it was $15 million against Duchesne County and punitive damages for how Jana Clyde treated my daughter, $50,000 personally.
So you're partially compensated for all the 8.5 years of legal fees.
I'd give it all back for just even a day with Maddie. It's not about the money. I mean, my biggest thing is Jana Clyde, my biggest thing, they found her culpable. That's why they gave the punitive damages. So she knows going home, yes, you're at fault for harming this girl. You'll live with that the rest of your life.
She's still employed there?
Yeah, they never find. Not one person's been put on leave. They're all still.
Nobody involved in your daughter's death
Nobody.
was punished at
They went
all.
to work on Monday. Every one of them.
How does that make you feel? It makes me angry.
My stomach is just sick.
I know.
Well, it's like for me, the good old boy system's still there.
Well, and it probably is in jails all over the country. And one of the things I heard opening statements, but I didn't see closing arguments. You told me one of their attorneys really demeaned Maddie. What did he say?
Jesse Trinity, I'll say his name. He's the attorney. He got on the stand and said, drug dealers' lives are worthless. Maddie was worthless. Maddie was not loved. Look, there's not even a picture in this court case showing that she was loved. He had the judge exclude all of her pictures and videos because she looked good before she died. It prejudiced the jury. So the jury never got to see my daughter horseback riding, hunting deer with me, nothing. So he used his setup to say, hey, this family's just here for money. They don't love their daughter. No, you excluded it all. The jury does not know what you just pulled. And he even said, don't award him any money because her life was worthless. All users' lives are worthless. That is all on the federal court case recording. If anybody wants to pull it up, Jesse Trinity, just watch the last 10 minutes of his closing arguments. You'll see.
That's disgusting.
And that's how he works.
And I've got to watch out for us being liable as well, but it would seem that was sort of the attitude in Duchesne County's jail.
100%. They didn't care. They just
say it because they can't sue you.
Yep.
So
no, that's the other thing is I know I haven't talked about this, but I have over 25 letters written from inmates to me trying to get help. I had one call me because they took her medicine away and she got sick. I made one, so I called her back and they had her come to the phone. No, she called me and I got on the phone and you could hear a weird click in the phone. So they was listening.
Sure.
And I says, look, I'll call my attorney and I'll solve your problem right now. Her mom got a hold of me and says 20 minutes of her hanging up the phone, she had all of her meds and was released the next day. And she was in there for a drug hold. They didn't want no part of me messing with her.
If I would have been on the jury and heard him say that, I would have jacked the award up because that's just a horrible thing to say about a human being.
My wife still, when I had my entire family in there just watching my daughter be slammed and our family be slammed. But we knew going into this, just giving somebody one Gatorade is not life-saving measures. They had to do something to get out of this. But the problem is the jury we had was middle-aged and younger people that don't view people with an addiction as a loser or an ignorant person, as somebody that has an issue that needs help. And this attorney's number, he's probably 75. When he went back to the old school and threw all the mud at my daughter and the family, the jury says, this just proves why this girl's dead. We're going to nail him with it. So they ruled the largest verdict ever in a case like this. And I believe it's number 2 or number 3 in the country.
Wow.
They threw the book at him as well as they deserved to.
I think what hurts my heart the most in all of this is it starts with you seeking help for your daughter being a danger to herself. And that is it.
Well, how many people's called the sheriff's department and leaves the jail in a body bag?
4 days later.
4 days later.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It just breaks my heart. You're just trying to help your daughter.
And the jury, I know they believed us because if you remember, I screenshot the medical guy calling me. When I called the jail and the DA, I had all my phone calls screenshot. I'm like, what? Because I went back on my log after she passed and saved them all. And in one of your stories, he posted the address of the medical guy. He called me twice. The jail I called, the county attorney, everything. I had it all logged in my phone because I didn't delete it. And I'm like, look, me as a father, we tried as a family to save my daughter 100%. I called every avenue I knew. Now, if I was a recovering drug addict or I knew how to handle her, that'd been different. But I just had a wife that just had a stroke. Now I got what's going on, daughter trying to harm herself, and my wife was dead in my car. And this is all in a 1 week period.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Just seeking help.
I just wanted help. And when people don't realize, well, you left her in jail for a week. No, you don't understand. She's going to go in there and get clean and have help in there. The other thing was, she went in at 11 o'clock from our home, in jail at 2. She's going to see the judge at 9 in the morning. I asked for 16 hours of help. And then when the judge didn't show up, what did I do as a dad? Why didn't we have him court? Well, this is going on. I'm worried about my daughter. Do a well check. I did the well check. Oh, she's fine. She's talking with everybody. Okay, I'm going to have my surgery. So I'm in surgery. I go home, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Still not all there. Sorry to tell you, but your daughter's passed away.
Go ahead.
Can you tell me why? How? Sorry, but your daughter passed away. Turned around and walked out. That's how cold-hearted they were.
I'm curious, after 9 years of battles and you saying pretty bad things about Duchesne County Jail and the people involved, and it is a small rural area and you're well known, have they retaliated at all?
I don't care if they do. Truth's the truth. I mean, I've told people this, and I've told 2 cops this, and I'll say it like I told them. They killed the wrong kid, and we're going to save lives because of it. I want my daughter back every day, but they tried to strangle me out and make our wallet get thinner to where we couldn't fight it. I just kept working, because I never want another family member to feel that again. And I know with us winning this, every jail, every prison knows, like, you're on the hook now. You better have your policies done. You better have the medical there, and you better just give a little bit of compassion to these people who actually need your help. They never sit there and say, oh, if this was my daughter, how would I treat her if she's in jail? The problem is, the aspect is they never understand or step back and say, if that's my daughter, how would I want her treated in here? It's that easy. I mean, for me, I'll be honest, when I was younger, I had a lot of friends that went down the wrong road. My mother says if you associate that, you'll be associated with that. Your friends are who you hang out with. Pick better friends. My parents never told me that kid's a loser. That kid's worthless. You got to kind of help your friend, talk to their parents, and help everybody out. That's how I was raised. But I never just says they're worthless. No life's worthless. That life is here for a reason, and it needs to be protected at all cost. And Duchesne County had no compassion or care about anybody in that jail at that time.
Wow. I don't know. You know, to me, I commend you for sticking with it. And the thing that's really frightening is between you and your attorney, you worked out a way to handle the expense of doing this for 8.5 years. The majority of people can't do that because they just can't handle it financially. And so the other side always wins.
Yep.
And so your tenacity is the only thing that got this done and got this award and sent this message to jails and prisons everywhere.
And the crazy thing is, this message should have never been sent. All they have to do is treat somebody like a human being, and it would have never happened. That's the whole ironic thing of this. Just treat them people like it's your family. Madison would be here today. There's no doubt in our mind. That was said in the court case. Dr. Brown went through it. He says, you could have saved her right here, right here, right here. 1 IV. That's all you had to do. It's that simple.
Did anybody ask why they didn't do that?
Well, the proof is they didn't care. She's just a junkie. Throw her in there. Just like old Jesse Trenadu said, well, their lives are all worthless. That's why the judgment when the ruling was as bad as it was, because they just disrespected every person who's ever picked up a joint or a heroin or a meth and said you're all worthless. But I hate to tell people, I know a lot of people in my life as well as you do. There's always one person in a family, they call them a black sheep for a reason, that has a problem. Do we just throw them away? No. I mean, after we won our court case, I had a gentleman come up to me and he said, Jared, I don't dislike you for anything you did for your daughter, but my son's drug use was so bad, and this is in Salt Lake City. It hurt my family so bad that we had to pack his stuff and go drop him off at the corner. He says it was our whole family was being destroyed by it. He says, when I dropped him off, it clicked on him. He just hit rock bottom. Guess what? He's a functioning adult today in the Salt Lake City community because his dad made a hard decision.
Right.
The hardest one ever. He says, how do you ever throw your son out? But he said, I have these children. I have my wife. This is dangerous. My daughter was never in the danger part of that, but he had a son that was way worse than me, a whole lifetime of habitual use. And finally, the dad had enough and says, you can't be here. And then, boom, he woke up and the lights turned on and says, whoa, I just lost my family. I've never hit the rock bottom. I haven't been in the drugs. I won't ever claim to know what rock bottom is. But I can tell you, when he told me that story, we never went through what that man went through. His anger and punishment, what he went through, an aggravation in his brain and with his son. I mean, this went on for 12 years.
Well, we deal with a lot of people like that here at Odyssey House.
I mean, I had a 4-month window with my daughter that was not good. He's had half a lifetime with his child. I mean, I'm sitting there feeling, I'm kind of the lucky guy, but the unlucky guy because my daughter ain't here. But just what I dealt with, the pain is horrible. I don't think people understand that there's got to be help for the family to heal, just not the addict. Because if the addicts cause these issues, these guys need to figure out how they can get through it to love this person again because they've offended them so much. So I think that we need to look at it both ways, that healing's on both sides of this, and admitting what happens with addicts and to the people who's trying to help them. Everybody's hurt. It's not just one person or centralized. It's hurting everybody. But how do you get through it and train somebody to pick up their pieces and live their life again?
What was your reaction right after you heard the verdict?
I'll be honest, as soon as I heard what we won on all the counts before the money is read, I just hugged my wife, and I just remember saying, we got him. The money didn't matter. We just wanted Maddie vindicated for all the mud they slung. We just wanted to put our boot on their neck and just say, you didn't get away with it.
And you did it.
And that's what we done. You know, and I was, my attorneys, I mean, I don't know how they do what they do, but he just knows the law, and he don't ever make mistakes. And I mean, he took 3 weeks off before this just to prep for this.
Wow.
I've never seen so many impeachments of employees before. Over 100 impeachments on the stands of outright lies from Duchesne County. And I can say it because I watched them all. It's all on the court record. What did you say to the investigator? I didn't say that. Let me refresh your memory. Played it for him over and over and over again. Every employee there had, don't agree to this, don't agree to this. But they don't realize my attorney brought in stacks of paperwork and DVDs and audios like this.
He's a sharp guy.
And he nailed them on everything.
We are out of time for part 2. I called you a hero at the beginning, and you are. You don't consider yourself.
No, just regular guy. Loves his kids.
Well, you expressed it well, and I thank you for sharing your entire story. And I hope people watch this, get angry over it, and realize that to say thank you to you for helping make this change. So I thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you for 9 years, and I wish you well in the future. I'm sorry you had to go through this.
Well, I appreciate your time and everything. And I mean, if I had to be the one to go through it to save lives, I know we have, because it's all changed right now.
Thanks, Jared. Good to see you, Nicole. And thank you for watching and listening to what I hope has been a very impactful Odyssey House Journals.